Hey, welcome back. So after a small Christmas break and me being sick and not really being able to talk to the camera, we're back here. And over New Year's Eve, it has turned into a winter wonderland and we're in the snow, which is amazing. So over the last days, it has come down quite a bit and then accumulated and now we're fully snow covered. Yeah, so what I have in mind for today is to find some really minimalistic and simple images. Maybe some lone trees on the field over here in the snow-covered landscape. Maybe some black and white. Really to show a lot of empty space and to focus on the snowy landscape. So I'm really excited. Finally some snow and first composition right over here. So the first image of today, over there on the field, there's a tree which is pretty much sticking out and it has this beautiful snow coverage, meaning it looks like the snow has been drawn onto it like a pencil. So it looks a little bit like a drawing. Yeah, it's very colorless. There's a lot of empty space in the sky, which I'm purposefully living in. Then at the bottom of my frame, there's a lot of snow, and then there are also some other trees in the frame. But this one in particular, because of the snow coverage, is very much sticking out, and also because it's quite a lot larger than all of the other trees. So they're kind of like fading into the background. So this tree from this angle is pretty much leaning to the right hand side, so it's very heavy on that side. So I'm placing it on the left hand side of frame just to create some balance. And to be honest, I'm quite happy with how this is looking because it's quite a balanced scene and quite harmonic. And I'm also making sure that I'm not cutting off any of the branches. What I do really like with snow-covered scenes is to expose them really brightly. Really make you focus on anything that's not snow and then having the snow almost white. Very bright, very much an empty space, so you're not really focusing on like any details or like a little bit of grass that is peeking through the snow because it's just so bright, and you're really pulling all of the attention towards the tree or whatever I want you to focus on. What I don't really like about the frame, but I'm pretty sure I'm not really able to fix, is that the tree is breaking the horizon, which means that half of the tree has a very bright background because there's just sky and it's basically pure white, and I don't really like that. But also, there's nothing I can do. So I think I just leave it at that. Yeah, but I think that I like the rest of the image enough that it's gonna work even with this kind of like imperfection. Have a look over here. Like something draws me to that over there. It's like so many fallen trees and everything. It looks interesting, but I'm not really sure if there's a frame. I don't know, it's very chaotic but also interesting. But for now I'm not really seeing anything. So a couple of days ago I met up with some friends and we decided to have a small hike through this winter and snowy landscape. It was already evening and then we were walking along some open fields, and then suddenly the wind picked up and there was a lot of snow coming down. So it was like really like a snowstorm. It was so amazing, and there were some lone trees on there, and I regret so much not having the camera on me because I think like in really a snowstorm, like there was so much snow being blown around and would have been so cool for photography. And then also there was some lightning in the distance, and you can imagine if there's lightning in this snow-covered landscape, the snow is going to reflect all the light. So it just looked like someone threw a flash grenade in your face, and it was day for a second. Man, that was so cool. But no camera on me. Oh damn it, come on. So what I've just described to you is the chaotic landscape that I was having a look at. There are two deers just coming down. Not the best frame, unfortunately, just covered by a lot of branches, but you can see it. Oh, damn it, now I took my gloves off. My hands are freezing already. Okay, Next composition, I think it's quite obvious what I'm shooting. I really like the structure and how this tree is growing. It looks very cool. And then again, it has some snow coverage, especially at the bottom. Yeah, and then apart from that, it's pretty much empty. But to be honest, I'm not really convinced about that shot. First, I don't really like the background. Maybe it's just on the screen of the camera. Not really sure, but I'm not like 100% like, yes, this is the shot. But I'm gonna take it anyway. Maybe this is a little bit because of expectation, because yesterday I had a small walk around and I had the camera with me and I found some really minimalistic, super simplistic scenes, and yeah, I really like that, especially like in these conditions with all the snow. And when this gets close to it, there's a little bit of like distraction and I don't really like the background and it's not as cool. It's good, but it's not like great, if you know what I mean. Maybe I'm also talking shit, because if I look at this composition a little bit longer, I do actually like it. It's not that bad. But maybe this is also because the conditions seem to change right now. There's a good amount of sky which is now becoming blue and clear. You can probably see it in the background over there. That obviously means that there's some light coming into my scene. And it's not directly on the scene, but it's kind of like in the background, which makes it a lot brighter, and that gives a lot more contrast and makes my tree over there stick out quite a bit more. So maybe it's that, but I like this one more. Just like the previous image, I do like to expose this very brightly, so just at the brink of not blowing out the highlights, but pretty much close to it. So I'm shooting this at ISO 400, f5.6 and 1/250th of a second exposure time, 2-second timer. And there we go. This might very well come out as a black and white image. I just looked through the images that I've just taken over the time span of like about 10 minutes of standing here, and I can actually see how much the light has changed and how much of a different look that gave to the image. So I'm pretty sure that's why I liked it more after staying for a couple of minutes. That just goes to show off how much light is going to impact the scene, even if it's not directly hitting my subject, with just like the surroundings and everything. Just can completely change anything. I just mentioned the images that I've taken yesterday, and I think I'm just going to put them at the end of the video because, well, what use are they if they're just going to be stored on my hard drive? So if you're interested in that, I invite you to stay to the end of the video and have a look at that. Also, if you're interested in learning more about landscape photography, how to find these compositions, how to frame them up, how to post-process them, I have a course available where I teach you everything that you need to know. I also have like presets available. It's all in the description, just give it a look if you fancy that. I'm really hoping that I'll find maybe one, maybe even two more images that have this minimalistic look. I'm just not really convinced if this is like the best place for that, but well, we'll see. Okay, I think I just found what I was looking for, a very minimalistic and very simplistic scene. So I'm photographing a total of 6 trees, and then there's a very small tiny fence in front of them, there's a lot of snow, and then there's another small fence, and everything else is just white and snow and just a lot of empty space. There's also a little bit of color in the sky, which I quite like. It's a little bit of a like gray bluish tone. First of all, that gives some contrast to the image, and secondly, it also separates the white from the snow from the sky, which I quite like. You can probably see it in the background behind me over there. There's also some color coming into the sky. It's kind of like the same over there. Now looking at the frame, I'm just going to take one more version of this. Going to zoom in even further, and then I'm just going to exclude the first frame, the one at the bottom of my frame, from this shot. So I just have the trees and the frame, and everything is basically pure white. I'm not really sure if I liked it more, but I like the convenience of being able to choose later. Again, I'm really overexposing this. I really want there no detail in the snow, just this pure light white. Let me actually show you my histogram so you can see. You can see it's very much on the far right hand side, just on the brink where it's not overexposed. Yeah, and that's basically how I've shot all of the images of today. So normally I'd just end the video over here, but let me show you over here. This is my way back, so somewhere over there along this fence, and I kind of fancy if there's like a shot between all of these fences. So yeah, just gonna have a look at that, especially with the sky, which is now becoming more and more blue over there. Maybe there's something over there, so let's have a look at that. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly take this one handheld. There's an open field over here. Normally there's cattle on here, but right now it's not. And the field is open, so it's quite cool because I can go on here and I can actually frame up a shot that I like. I'm just not really convinced about this one. You probably can't see it on video, but there's like a ongoing and repeating pattern of fences going further into the distance. That's what I quite like. And again, quite minimalistic with all the snow and the white. It's not the best frame, and the composition and everything, I'm not really sure about that. But I'm just gonna give it a go anyway, and we'll see. And it is quite cool that there's a lot of blue in the sky in the background. That gives a lot more interest to the image. I'm just not really convinced if it's enough. I hope you enjoyed this video, especially with the snowy landscape. That's something that I've missed for quite a while now. Finally it's there. Yeah, and fingers crossed it's gonna stay for a little bit longer, so yeah, we can get more videos, more images, everything. So if you want to support the channel, then like, share, subscribe, share the video, hit the bell, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.